people, and it is time for our final round of the day. That's right, 6 rounds done, dusted, and we've got 2 players in particular who are looking very pretty at the top of the leaderboards. The X2 twins just came off the back of a big victory royale as well. Shout out to all the Australian fans who are watching. Definitely a good moment for you. But before we get into our game number 7, we want to take a look at one of the biggest names that we have in Fortnite, one of the forefathers of competitive Fortnite, and that is, of course, Myth.
The way I got into Fortnite was simply, I seen the trailer drop when like day 1, where they're like, hey, we're dropping Battle Royale. That day I just like got on and never got off really. So I think my play style, I have a lot of strengths in early game. I do pretty well at knowing how to navigate around a drop point to like win early game skirmishes, and I think that's really strong, something that's really useful. I guess my weakness would be is just like late game strategizing. Typically that's when my teammate or my partner would hold a little bit more weight than I do. But definitely when it comes to like early game encounters and early game skirmishes, I tend to pull my weight there quite a bit. The most important aspect of Fortnite is just decision making. Like being able to like change up your playstyle or change up the decisions you make based on the format that you're playing under to get the most like success out of it is in my opinion like the biggest thing. Like, being in like the competitive community and constantly practicing against other people and constantly improving and achieving new heights in your own gameplay, kind of like taking time to sit down and reflect and just doing that regularly is something that helps me like realize like I could do this professionally, that I could go up against the best. I think the coolest experience would just be being able to like come to events like this and outside of the game just hang out with all of the people that I like know online. Like that's really cool. Like being able to see some of like the EU guys that I've like casted over before is definitely awesome, and I wouldn't have that opportunity otherwise.
What a fantastic guy, Myth there, having a lot of fun here and performing pretty well as well. Go on, Jason, you've got something you wanted to bring,
it's actually
bring in here.
For people who don't know, that was like the cleaning people, because like he was sitting here still dancing to the wee hours of the night. They actually had to kick him out because they needed to close the entire expo. But he wanted to keep dancing, so I just wanted to point that out there. It was great.
He's looking good at the moment, Myth. And I want to talk a little bit about his teammate Cloud as well, because an interesting point from that little VT there is he's saying towards the end game, sometimes it's not his forte, but that's where he puts a little bit of weight onto his teammate. And Cloud has been making it to those end games on more than one occasion, staying alive, getting some decent placement points on the board when he's been on his own as well, which has been so impressive for me.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him come 2nd place earlier on today. I mean, really unlucky that he ran out of mats and had to slide off a mountain in a very Myth-like style, but very, very consistent player. And I wonder who is calling the shots, though. Is it Myth? Is it Cloud? That's what I want to know.
Certainly going to be interesting to see how these guys perform. They've been doing pretty well today, but I think we need to focus on what is our main story coming towards the end of the day, and that is the dominance that we have seen in day 1 of the duos, coming in from Vinny and Zexro. Look at the standings here. 91 points between 1st and 2nd place after 6 games of competitive Fortnite. Now, we need to explain how big a gap that is, Jason.
I have to blow your mind, first of all. 3 out of those 5 teams in top 5 have not won a Victory Royale.
There you go.
Just want to put that out for you, That's a big deal. We have a lot of ninjas in there able to make their way through. We had Crip and Boyer constantly getting further and further as these games go along, and they're definitely putting in the work. But like you said, 91 points. That is an insane lead. And now it's a question of, can anyone stop them? Can anyone stop this train that's rolling down these tracks into these trophy lifts?
I mean, this could be risky. I mean, one of the top teams, if they really want to take home the crown at the end of the day, maybe they've got to have to drop on them.
That was my. I was just about to ask you that.
Exactly the same thing. I was like, who do you think is going to be the players in this lobby which we'll be thinking tomorrow at some point? All right, let's do this thing. Let's drop on them. Let's mess these standings up. Let's go for 1st place. Is there anyone that you know that's probably got that in the back of their mind?
I think everybody just expects everybody else to do it for them.
Okay,
so
yeah.
It's kind of one of those things like we hope it happens, but will it? I don't know.
And then for that one to kind of go on to that note, if you are these players that are number 1, Vinny and Zextro, do you change your style at all? Obviously, with them having that kind of lead, there's no need to, right? But do you maybe play a little bit more passive, knowing you have such a giant lead that you really need to have a game or you really need to, more importantly, not have a game where you get no points. You need to consistently keep getting these points to keep that gap far as possible.
I mean, these guys are just going to play it how they've been playing it the entire time. Why stop something that's working so well? I can't believe how consistent they are when it gets to that late game. They could probably have the worst early game as well, and I still think they would get to that late game no problem, because they're just absolutely fantastic players.
Yeah, they have been playing phenomenally well and so consistently all day. But tomorrow, as we know, is a brand new day. This isn't it. This isn't the 7 games duos done. We've got 7 more games tomorrow, gentlemen, and a lot can change in those games. As we say, it could only take one particular game where they get no points on the board. They get a little bit unlucky on a drop. Someone does take that chance, and it opens the field up once again. So, you know, although we're 7 games, or 6 games in, I should say, and by the end of the day we'll be 7 games in, there still is that chance that that could all change tomorrow. But let's talk about some of the players who have gone under the radar a little bit that we haven't kind of focused on. 7S, SK7, and Jamside. These 2 gentlemen have been playing out of their minds today, and they are very much still in that contention.
I think the way they've been playing goes into a completely other topic as well at the same time. And this is something we wanted to mention on the desk, is when you take high ground. Like, when is that moment you go for it when it comes to the late game? We saw Jesse and Jordan do it with the Rift to Go. They're able to take high ground and maintain it. We've seen Jamside and 7SSK7 be able to do it consistently. And we'll dive into a little bit of time here, but this is going to be a tough match now.
Well, here we go. Final round of the day is underway. Zacchaeus, Jason, it's been a pleasure to have you on the desk. Do it one more time for us.
Okay, so let's just go into that topic now. Let's just talk about it here, because when is that moment you decide, all right, we have to take high ground? Is it a kind of an understanding of what people have in their inventory and do not have to be that last one with a Rift to Go? Or what's it come down to, Zacchaeus?
It comes down to so many different things, Jason. It depends on your positioning, whether you're high enough already in a fight that you can actually just build up to it. Because a lot of times when you have the high ground, you kind of forget everything that is directly underneath you. Beneath you, going off to the west, whatever, east, whatever side you're coming from, you can often find holes in that high ground. As we saw, Tux and Provoke did that very much earlier. In fact, to the Russian players, Jamside and SSK as well, they crept in from behind, and that's the difficult retake. What we saw with Jesse and Jordan, saving the items for the very, very late game. They must have rotated so much and risked so much to have that rift at that very point.
Right.
But again, it's not a guarantee that you will get the high ground. You don't know who's waiting for you at the top. There could be 2 teams lasering you from above, and it's not easy to do.
And I think we're seeing players like Demo and Bizzle who have the understanding of when to do it and why to do it, in terms of they let other people who take the high ground invest so much material to getting that high ground and maintaining it, and then they use that mobility item like the Rift to Go to get up there, or a launch pad to get up there, to take the high ground away from them, and then still have all of their own materials to use to maintain it for themselves. So it's not about taking high ground, it's about taking it at the right time with the right materials and the right inventory, and then be able to maintain it from there on.
Airwax actually taking out Riz out there in retail row, going down fast, and I believe the Japanese players are both out there. Very unlucky for them. They're not doing too well in this tournament right now, Jason.
Yeah, they're not. But again, just the first day. And that's something I really honestly hope to see coming into tomorrow, is seeing these players watch back their games, discuss what went well, what didn't go well, and change. Because this is such a different format than a lot of people are used to. And you heard Myth in his video talking about, you know, when these formats come around, you have to learn how to play them. And I feel like after this day of games, for all the players here except the Polish players who've already experienced it last week, that's their time. That's their opportunity to go into this and say, okay, what can we change up now going into our second day, because it's do or die time.
Yeah, I mean, one example for that is like, you know, Milan. Like he's such an aggressive, fast, mechanical player, and I feel like he's gone too passive for his own good, that he's slowed himself down a little bit.
So he's changed his style too much?
Yeah, I think so. I think the nerves of the event, you know, gets to people, and there'll be other players like that. I just use that as an example, and that, oh, I think that was a lovely sniper shot there, coming in from behind.
Yeah, Shinken and Stompy looking to take a potential second victory out, and that's something we need to talk about here, Zach. We've had 2 days now. We've had 14 matches at the end of this one, and yet we've had no repeat victory royales. I think that's actually really cool to see. Even without the repeat victory royales, though, we still have that clear winner at the moment here with Vinny and Zextro.
That's very true. It's all up for grabs, really. I mean, well, apart from Vinny and Zextro, they're way ahead by the pack. Almost 100 points. Big damage coming in here from Include. Can he find the elimination? He can. He knocks down his opponent. Madzan down. Now, just taking it slow was AR. I think he's going to go for the elimination down there, get that shield, and then push on to the last player, Seth, here.
You know, this is an interesting actual thing when it comes to, I don't think we've even touched about it a single time on the desk over the course of this last week and a half, is letting a certain player get the elimination because they need the health and the shield more than you, right? And maybe you don't have the small shields, maybe you don't have the big shield pots. Letting someone try to get their elimination by assisting them so they get the extra HP to work with. It's kind of min-maxing how you can play, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for instance, he had minis. He had been hit, but, you know, he wants to get it up quick. He wants to get that shield very quickly. And no better way of doing that than actually eliminating a safe player that's already in your safe space. It was the right decision to do. And now they have an opportunity to eliminate Seth and make it easy.
And I like how they're taking their time, too, not rushing things. And now we have our victors from our last round here, the two Aussies, Jesse and Jordan, up against Nikov. And Airwax trying to maintain potentially a back-to-back Royale. Let's see, as we do have Airwax charging in. I think they know. They made the call. Nikov said, I did damage to Jordan, but they returned back onto him, taking that shield completely away.
It's going to be interesting. Is Jesse going to make a move for the high ground? I think Jordan is. They're pushing on to Airwax here. He's by himself on that left-hand side, and they've seen the vulnerability, but they've got to watch out for this flank from Nikov as well. He's got an angle on both players here, but this could be very, very deadly for Airwax, and he's read the situation right. He's backing off, getting back to his teammate, getting back to the high ground.
But for how early on we are in this game now, Zacubus, this is a lot to invest into a fight. We saw the X2 boys do this before. We saw them do this, and it actually was one of their downfalls, but they eventually had no materials to build with and no way to escape, though they actually pushed the aggression, caught their opponents off guard, and did win that fight. But this is such a big commitment.
Yeah, and now the commitment comes in strong there from Jesse. Big damage coming into Airwax. So much damage. He's on 20 HP, and they're going to try and continue to pressure him as well.
Oh, Jesse, actually, Demo comes out of nowhere here, gets the down onto Jesse, gets the finish as well, and now the third party has come in true. You can see towards the top left-hand side, just getting a couple of bullets rattling off in this direction. And Airwax has to be so happy that the cavalry is here, but he's got to be careful because he doesn't have a lot of health either.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And Jordan is pressured. He's going to run straight into Nikov, surely. He drops down and goes. He just eliminates himself by falling off the build. The pressure, the fear, and the anxiety got to him, and he just jumped off, had enough. And, you know, he's going to be back on the bus, Jason.
So I wonder, well, no, he won't be. You have to go home now from this one. The bus won't pick up till tomorrow. I wonder, though, did he run out of materials? Or do you think that was a play out of him to be smart, to realize I can't pull off an elimination here? Let me take myself out so I don't give the points to anyone else. Do you think that was potentially a case, or do you think it was more like a misplay or running out of materials?
I mean, it makes complete sense. I mean, that is a very good point to make. But I think it was more the fact that he was out of mats in that instance. I don't think he was thinking. I think he was just trying to survive as best as he could. Reacted to a problem too quickly for his own good, and then obviously, ow.
And now Aiden and Nick Merckx here on Tilted Towers. I think for the most part of today, they've been fairly successful when it's come to this. But this is the battle we wanted to see. Fox calling out, if you come to Tilted, you're going to lose. But they've been the ones actually losing for the most part here.
Yeah, everybody's kind of having that stalemate sort of period in a fight when the damage has been dealt, trying to find the heals, but the action kicks off again here with Nick Merckx as he dives down and tries to regroup with his teammate here.
And Aiden was being shot from behind her. Nice little position kind of aim here as he gets rushed down, caught off guard. The elimination was certainly going to come through as he will be dropped out of this fight for now. And now his teammate Fox looking to run away here and hopefully get into the placings. But again, Aiden, Nick Merckx putting their foot down saying, hey, Tilted is ours.
Very much so. They've been actually dominating that spot pretty much a lot of the times coming out of Tilted. They are still alive and doing very well, but it falls off towards the mid-game as they get those rotations. I've only seen Aiden alive pretty much once in a late-game situation.
That was I think that was last game, too, that we did see. In-time camo. It's actually lost out on Isa. I believe has lost out on history in this battle that's been going on here between these two players. Just trying to look for, again, an angle here. He's got a lot of materials to work with, so he's not in too big of a rush. And he knows that Fal's very low on HP. I think he's just trying to escape his Brazilian player looking to fight another day, though I don't think Camel's going to let that happen.
No, and I don't think it is going to happen. Scram Sakona here in the back end of Paradise, and SSK and Jamside have been dropping it every time and been doing very, very well. This has been a very highly contested drop, as I said earlier, Jason, but SSK and Jamside have been owning it up pretty legit.
Well, don't commentators curse them here, Zacubus. You can see still that 91-point difference between number 1 and number 2. These are just like the 10 players we're keeping in a heavy eye on when it comes to this match. Stompy and Shinken, winners of round 3, have Razru to worry about, but Razru's taken a lot of damage. He's lost out on his shield. X8's there to help out as well, but they're split apart.
Yeah,
Strength is in numbers.
That could be difficult. If they find an opportunity to push one of those players, it could be deadly for X8 and Razaru there. But Scram and Sakona getting out. They're bottling out, but they've run into another team by the looks of it. Or maybe somebody rotating, actually. That was a quad crasher flying in the air that they just popped shots at it. See if they can get lucky, but
man. No. Look how much they have to build with 140 for Vinny, because they have Shifty Shafts pretty much to themselves. Gem side and 7 SSK7 has been able to get an elimination apiece here, looking for a second one on the board for East. They're up against Cloud and Myth, and right now Cloud's gonna get actually edited on. He gets a nice little shot through the window, but he's being shot from behind. I'm not sure if that was Myth or if that was another player, but in the meantime, Cloud will fall, and that's their third elimination of this game.
Yeah, it was Myth. Good call. He tried to get an angle, but Myth is now getting third-partied from up on that hill. He's in a tough situation here, and Jam side and SSK aren't going to let it slide. They're pushing hard, and they will wrap that up very nicely, Jason.
Borland's second circle in. They are putting in some serious work. They are gunning to take that first-place position, or at least to close that gap.
I think I know who was on that quad crasher, by the way. It must have been Myth and Cloud rotating, and they made quite a tactical error landing on, you know, basically the #2 team right now.
See, Little J's been down. 0-7's trying to help him out here, but again, he's got to fight out in the 1v2. Little J will be finished off. He won't be back to fight here for the rest of today. And again, just clean plays here out of E11, Crippa and Boyer. And again, no victory out for them just yet. But if they keep playing like this, then they are going to be able to maintain that top 5.
Yeah, they've been creeping up very, very quickly. And also, Tomo and Item as well doing very well on the Ninja grind as well. We haven't really seen a lot of them. I'd love to see some more action from these players that are climbing the ladder without getting those victory royales.
Yeah, very, very important. And that just shows that just really emphasizes the format we have here, with the elims being worth 5 points each, and again, the standing points you do get. Milan and Smeef, you know, we talked about before, you said Milan was playing a little bit different than his usual style, but they do have an elimination apiece here between these two players.
Maybe they're just getting the flow a little bit. You know, they've done a lot of games already that's not working out, and maybe they could just go, you know, we'll go for this.
So Eric just ditching Motor. Actually, maybe he's trying to flank around behind him, but I don't think Motor's actually going to be able to survive this as he's being aggressed on by Nick Merckx and Aiden. So I think we're going to have Fnatic lose out on a player now as Aiden's able to get that one. That's going to be the second elim here now for the Tilted crew.
Now they've just got to get out of that storm, and they've got one player to go through as well as they try and exit there.
Mitro, Zayt, Saf, Kuna, all in the same position. Looks like one player from each team just going to retreat here from this one. And now, actually, Nick Merckx going to take down Eric, who eventually did come back to try to help out, but eventually cost them their chance here in round 7.
Yeah, tough there. And Zayt and Saf, obviously they got Mitro and Kuna right next to them, and they're currently in 13th position, or 14th position even. So they're creeping it up. They were kind of unlucky in the last game and actually dropped a few sort of, you know, a few points there and slid down the leaderboard. But Mitro and Kuna are the team that could easily pull this back and cause an upset. We actually saw them fight earlier on in the last game too, and Zaf and Zayt came out on top easy.
There we go. Devils 1, Nero and Tyovsky up in a battle up against 2 players trying to deal with Chap in 72 hours. And as you can see, fighting from the low ground will be the 2 Liquid boys. I think Tom's wondering when he can hop into the hot tub. I think he actually requested, whatever hotel you put me in, it better have a hot tub because I need my time in the tub.
Oh, he can't play without it. It's just that. It's a simple fact. He can't play without the tub.
Here, Kahuna. Mitro looking to chase onto Zayt and Saf. This actually would be a big elimination if they can take them out of the fight here, who, you know, stop them from being in their top 5 leaderboards, maybe knock them down a couple of ranks here or there if they can potentially do so. And Smeef and Milan looking to join the party as well. Saf has actually been caught out here, and he will be finished off in just a few seconds of time. So a good start here for the Atlantis boys.
Very, very nice. They're going to be happy with that. A little bit of revenge coming out for them. That's a big drop there from Saf.
Oh, the matching skins as well. You love to see it. There we go, Tyovsky is being pressured back. You can see the stink bombs coming through. You got to respect the Liquid guys. You really have to give them the credit where the credit is due here. As they're trying to shoot down a wall, get the replace back in. 72 hours. And Chap with no shield. Be at the most disadvantageous position in this fight. But the Storm, it's closing in, and now someone's going to have to make the move, right, Zach?
Yep, this is right, Jason. They will have to make the move, and there it is with a launch pad. And, of course, Tyovsky Nero waiting for that.
Oh, Chap got knocked down mid-flight. He actually got incapacitated on the ground, so that's actually a little bit of a misstep for them. Actually, not even a misstep. That was the right play to make, but someone caught him off guard. Tyovsky's going to get the finisher on him, and now it's just left to 72 hours by himself without a teammate.
I think Tux actually just picked up Lolito there, I think, as we just switched to him. So that's a nice little limb to get there. But
another duo that we've seen kind of ninja their way through, even though they did get a victory out in Game 4.
They were actually my favorite coming into this duo tournament as well. They've been performing so well in the pop-up cups, also in custom games as well. They've been annihilating it. They had a slow start, but look at their scores now. They're climbing up those leaderboards quite quickly now as they make 9th place.
So Fa still alive, even though he lost history way earlier on. Nice to see him trying to survive as long as he possibly can, representing Brazil. Yeah, Vinny and Zextro. I feel like they know there's a target on their back. And now it looks like Tux and Provoke going to get very aggressive here as Ares has been knocked down. The revive, it might come through. 2 seconds left to go. The pressure's come through. The stink bomb's being thrown in as well. They're trying to stop this res from coming through, and they will not be able to do so. But the thing is, will their opponents be able to escape this one? Ares gets knocked to the ground now. Nowhere's trying to run away from this one, trying to protect himself. You would imagine Tux and Provoked is going to have this one easy.
It's a great time to be aggressive, but you also got to be a little bit scared. There's third-party elements that will happen here. Nord is in a very, very bad position here. Tux and Provoke want to play this aggressively. They want to gain these resources, these mats, everything coming out from these two players. And Ares has already fallen. Nord is just trying to mini up as best as he can. I think Tux and Provoke has slightly lost him, but Sakona and Scram actually may have an angle on this situation. So there could be a third party from that direction as well. So Nord going for the high ground. Provoke doesn't read it right, climbed up and secures himself a little bit higher, maybe a bit safer, but there's stinks in play, so he's not safe as of yet. We'll have to see if Tux actually has any more of those stinks in his inventory.
And the thing is, the storm will be closing in soon, so they want to clean up that elimination before Sakona and Scram can somehow pick up the elim themselves. Toma's going to fall. Item trying to run away from this one, and again, another top 5 team under some pressure as Jules is able to get some work done here with Miz. Nowhere's actually able to rotate him behind these two players, and Sinu from Korea has actually been relatively quiet here so far, but has been able to make his way closer to the zone.
Item getting a little bit lucky on that rotation. No one focusing as he was scrambling away out of that situation. And now we switch over the action to Nero and Tyoski. And they're spamming some dynamite there that's going to affect this build quite nicely. I would expect, there we go. 2 players drop down, have to rebuild, waste a couple of mats here as well. But nobody else focusing them. When you do a dynamite play like that, you're kind of hoping other people will join in the fun, Jason. But they didn't. That's kind of disappointing.
Well, unfortunately, this isn't the fun zone, I guess, at the moment. Magan, you can see trying to rotate in, try to get himself safe. Fa, you can see to the left-hand side as well. 72 hours, who's lost Chap when they use the launch pad. Incly is going to be dropped down as well. This one by 72 hours. He's looking to get elimination. He will be able to secure it. So they at least have a minimum of 5 points on the board as we make our way through into the top 33 duos. Top 25 to place. So every team is just gunning to get into that for some guaranteed points.
The bush looks good on Chap, I must admit. Does look good on him, and he picked up that elimination onto Incline as well just a few moments ago too. Now we're back to Bowman and Alpha. They got shot out by Nick Merckx and Aiden in the last game. It was, on the rotation, it's sad to see, but it happens. Very well played.
Wow, Wexy and Demento is just being pummeled from all directions. Funk Bomb gonna get one. So at least able to help capitalize off of other players' confusion and chaos that was going on. 72 hours, I mean, like we said, the bush is helping to protect him quite a bit here. Mitro going to be on high ground at the same time. And another fight from earlier on, we saw Shinken and Stompy, and you just see just the lasers coming through here from the high ground. A nice little different view from what we saw before.
Yeah, things getting hectic there. Real fast. Replay shots coming out there from both sides. Incline and Marijuana actually picking this up very nicely in the early fight at the Aztec Temple.
There's some action towards Tilted as well, and you can see Saf just being shot out here. Mitro and Kuna.
So it's the rotation that got Saf. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's the downside, right? Is just, yes, the launch pad can be very good for rotating, but the downside is you're very vulnerable while you're gliding through the air. And at the caliber of players that we do have here, they're going to hit shots more often than not, especially in those situations. Now, Mitro looking for Shanta Nero, who's just trying to dive and dip away from this one. It ain't dodgeball, but he's looking to take no damage as he's trying to relocate back towards the zone.
I'm interested on how Zayt is currently doing as well. Apparently he's alive, still out there lurking. So maybe we'll see his name flash up on this chaos rotation that is now happening as we enter the southeast zone.
See Milan's still alive too. I think this is one of the furthest games they've been able to get. Fa is actually still alive. A player we pointed out way earlier on as he lost out on history. Provoked and Tuck still there as well. You see the jam side, 7SSK7 able to rain down the pain. They have a rift to go though, so I would imagine they're looking for the opportunities we're talking about before to take that high ground.
Just imagine if they could find the elimination onto Vinny and Zexro here in this kind of area of the points, you know, 29 teams remaining, 25 teams remaining as well. And Zay on the very edge of the zone, I think he's just using a campfire to heal himself up, and no pressure actually towards him on that end of the circle. So maybe he'll recover this, hopefully. But Vinny and Zexro still leading the charge, and they're still out there.
And to X8, who did get down, looks like he will be finished off by Kilos. You can see Jules very careful about the peaks he does go for. This Bowman and Alpha still looking to get a high ground position, but we're getting into the moving storms here, Zachabis, and this is where things are going to get very hectic for all of these players. Demo has been dropped 72 hours this fight. Item did secure the elimination onto Demo, so we've talked about Item and Tomo, and they're consistently getting into these high placements yet again.
I believe Vinny is the only one live here coming out from the TSM boys. That's it. He's by himself, same as Zay as well. But the rotations are now happening, and now the shots are firing coming in from Miz here. Lasers up a little bit of the build, but not landing any direct damage. He wants to try and maintain the high ground here. Can he find it? Will he be contested?
Oh, Razaru, the old Razzle Dazzle, as he flies through the air and is eliminated in the sky. A little bit unfortunate for him, but again, at least you have tomorrow to play another time, another round around. Item's still there, trying to contest as well. Here's Excalibur's gonna be finished off by Nikov. We can hear the shots rallying off, and the two players of Jules and Mitch just trying to stick together and make sure they can make this work. Jam side again on high ground with 7SSK7. We talked about this so many times. Able to maintain the high ground positions, don't have a single victory royale, and yet they're in the top 5 currently.
And have 5 eliminations as well to boot. They're in a great position to capitalize on a hell of a lot more points here, Jason. If they can just keep their cool and play it safe, just not overcommit to a situation. They've already got the elims. They just need the placements right now.
Another rift to go coming through. 7SK7 trying to maintain this high ground position. You see Stompy is still going to be their warrior as well. I think Sky has fallen. Krippa trying to run around, trying to help keep themselves alive. Item trying to get a little bit further ahead as well. No one is challenging this high ground position, and this is so big here for the VP boys. If they can maintain this even longer, the problem is, though, they're running out of materials because they're the ones being forced to build across to keep that position.
It's really hard to actually for anybody to try and contest the high ground here as we go enter low ground area here, but I've been mistaken before, and it has happened here as Bowman and Alpha have capitalized on the top ground.
Well, the VP guys are out of this one. Kilos trying to survive. He's got 200 HP to work with here. Item actually takes down Fa. Fa's been able to make it into like top 7 when he lost his teammate within the first 2 circles. That man has done insane work here as Krippa's going to take down Kilos. Now trying to drop down here. 10 builds left to go. 8 now for Bowman. Krippa takes down Alpha from the low ground. You can see, and you can hear the traps, the miniguns, everything being thrown out here. The shotguns as well coming in, and we're down to 6 players.
Wow, what a play coming in from Boya and Krippa, pushing the high ground immensely well there, taking out Bowman as well. Brilliant retake of the high ground there. Great play on 5 eliminations. It's all to play for as we have 5 players left.
3 duos left to go as well. Krippa and Boyer, 8 eliminations for themselves. They could have another 3 added to the list here if they can keep this pace up here. But Boyer's been knocked down. He actually fell off of this one. I think he ran out of materials, and that's going to be unfortunate because now Krippa has to be the one to defend. He's got 127 HP. He's got the good weaponry to actually pull this off. But Villix, look at him. He's actually been able to take the high ground himself. The Storm is continuing to move. He's got nothing left to build with. And where is he going to fall? He's looking for the shot. He connects, and he's going to ride this to hopefully to a victory. And he comes back in. Villix and Kinzo with 6 eliminations. My lord, he had me wondering what was his plan.
Oh,
but it pays off.
Jason, the zipline play comes in huge there. Absolutely massive play there coming in from Villix and Kinzel. The coordination, the team play there was superb. They were separated from each other, but tackling 2 different problems at the same time. And when you're out of mats and you've got to do that jump off the cliff.
Look at him. You see, he's like, oh, that was heart beating, knees weak, arms heavy. Ruined the whole stick on that one, but you could see the pressure that was on him in that situation. And to make those split-second decisions, you have to have experienced it before, unless you're just a mechanical genius.
These players just see things that we don't. At times, it's as simple as that. We saw it with Yarkos, went back at the Polish tournament with the solos when he jumped down on that jump pad outside and managed to make his way back in. But the zip line, oh, I mean, that is just a fantastic way to end things off there. I don't think he actually got the final shot away, but his teammate came in clutch. So Villix and Kinsa, we have another winner here for the Victory Royale, picking up the Victory Royale, I should say, showing again how much talent is in this lobby, gentlemen. It really is just fantastic to see so many duos coming out today and putting in performances.
Oh, mate, you're not wrong. You are not. Mate, you're not wrong, Vilex and Kinzel. They've been waiting for this all day, and they've been grinding that ladder so slowly, but you knew it was going to happen. You knew they were going to force their way up the top, and they did it in style.
And we'll have to check on the leaderboards and see how things have changed towards the top when we can. But Jason, I mean, coming in and getting a victory royale at the end of the day, that's going to be such a nice way for them to close out the day. It kind of puts what happened earlier in the day, if they haven't, a few things might not have gone their way. You can go to bed happy, can't you, knowing that you've got it in the bag to pick up those victories.
I think so. I think that's like the perfect way for them to end the day. The fact they're able to actually play they wanted to play at the end, and even the slick play out of Vilex to just drop down into the zip line like that. That has to feel good because that was caught on camera. That's going to go on Reddit. Well. He's going to be happy about that one, getting some clips out there. That's got to be a big motivation now going into day 2.
Oh, for sure. What's also interesting in that storyline as well is like what happened to Zayt and Vinny, because they were both solos for the respective teams, and they were trying to wiggle their way through that entire mess, but did they do it? How far did they get? Did they get enough placements? This could be maybe the tipping point here for for these American players. Maybe EU's coming back up strong.
Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. It was time to catch up with our winners from the last game. They're down on the stage with the main man himself. It's Adam Savage.
Thanks so much, guys. Yeah, I'm joined by Game 7 winners, Vilex and Kinzel. Guys, make some noise in our audience here. We've got to go straight into what just happened there, that insane leap of faith onto the zip line. Walk us through everything that just happened.
I'm just 200 IQ, what can I say?
And he's not arrogant one bit. Tell us about the game in itself as well. Did you always feel in control?
Yeah, we were like really confident. We were playing like really good from the second game on. We were getting like top 10 plays almost every game. So, yeah.
When it comes to events like this as well, obviously we've talked to a lot of players about the caliber, how good the players are that are here today as well. Does it make you guys rethink strategies, or do you always keep to what you're doing best?
We're chilling on the same spot.
A man of few words, but I like him. I like him. Going into tomorrow as well, obviously you're finishing off the day as the Game 7 winners. Tonight, do you kind of regroup, think about strategy for tomorrow, watch back clips, or how does things happen tonight?
We'll probably like just stick to the same tactic. Like it went pretty well, so.
Well, listen, lads, you did brilliantly well. One more time, Game 7 winners, guys. Give it up for these guys. Oh yeah, we want some shout outs from Flex. Go ahead.
Shout out to Rickson, okay?
There we go. Thank you guys so much. One more time, make some noise for our Game 7 winners. Well done, fellas, and best of luck for tomorrow. Great ending to the day. What a Game 7. What a play at the end there. Mark, back to you.
Thank you very much, Adam. And yeah, 200 IQ plays, gentlemen. We couldn't have said it better ourselves. I think sometimes you don't need a lot of words, you just need the best ones.
Yeah, thing is, I'm jealous at how cool he was there. Because I would have answered like, yeah, I was like doing this and that, and then I jumped down, I saw the right situation, but he's keeping it cool. He's like, nah.
Shows the caliber of the player, doesn't it, a lot of the time as well. That's something that he's just like, yeah, just do that kind of thing all the time. It's nothing. Was
that a big deal?
Crazy.
Like,
yeah, it's like, was that
impressive? Like, I didn't realize.
Watch to see what I do the rest of the day. Get me back tomorrow and see what happens. But Zacubus, I think we have to talk about not only the two guys, Kinzel and Vilex, they're picking up that victory royale. We have to kind of paint the picture of what we had happen today, because there's two players in particular that were super impressive, and there you can see them in that #1 spot, but that lead has been cut down significantly because of that performance from Jamside and 7 SSK7.
91 down to 48, and that shows how one game, how one round can really change the tides of our standings. You had Zayt and Saft, who were ranked 2nd, dropped down to 5th. You mentioned Jamside and 7 SSK7. They've been able to take 2nd place, and there we go. Vilex and Kinzel, 6th place now, 318 points.
Yeah, huge performance in that final game, and you can see, Demo and Bizzle still within striking distance. Myth and Cloud, good performance from them as well. And Sky and Vato, they were really impressive, both of those players, especially Sky, in the solo performances yesterday. So a lot of players are going to take, I think, a lot of belief into day 2 now. You feel like maybe if Vinny and Zextro picked up another, really good place in there with some Liams, put big points on the board, then maybe the confidence might have drained out of a few of these players and they would have had to challenge some of those landing spots. But now the competition has been blown completely wide open once again.
And I really don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, we are seeing consistently some players get further and further and maintain these points, but when you have these breakout games, they got 100 points from that match alone, it can really shake up the standings. And what can we say? Like, what will happen tomorrow? We just have to wait. It's
so interesting, though, because it just shows how this point system is so consistent with a lot of players. I mean, they're catching up. But, hats off to Vinny and Zextro, because they've been holding the lead all the time.
Yeah. Speaking of Vinny and Zexro, I believe that they're currently down on the stage with Adam again. So let's see how our leaders are feeling after day number 1.
They certainly are, and they look cool as cucumbers over here. Vinny and Zexro, our day 1 leaders. Guys, what an incredible display today. It has just been, obviously, you won the first game today. You've been consistent throughout. Walk us through how the day's been for you both.
It's been really good. Last game didn't go so well because we got clingered like 10 times, GL'd like 12 times. We wanted to get a second dub, but unfortunately we couldn't pull it out.
And in terms of the way that things have gone as a team as well, you've been consistent the entire time. Zexro, pleased with everything?
Yeah, we got top 10 every game pretty much. Besides one, we got 11th, and then the last game we got like 20th because 15 clingers thrown at us and then GL spam, so.
When you come into games like this as well, did you both this morning, obviously with being the solos champion as well from yesterday, do you come into this with a lot of confidence, obviously seeing the caliber of players you're playing against?
Yeah, I come in with a lot of confidence. Definitely some really good players. You got to watch out for Zaytine, Saf, Boyer, and Kripa. All really good players.
We've just found out as well that you guys are now officially 48 points in the lead, which is amazing. You are, I mean, going into tomorrow as well against all these guys and how you start off things tomorrow. Is it much the same? What do you do this evening? Do you kind of watch back footage? Do you kind of regroup, talk about things? How does it go, Zexro?
Well, we don't want people watching stuff, like to see what we do. Probably be a lot harder tomorrow to play because people will figure out what we're doing, so just...
I've got to ask you guys as well. Obviously, yesterday you're solos champion, Vinny. Today you guys top of the leaderboard as well. I'm sure there are a lot of aspiring players at home desperate to get into competitive Fortnite. I'd love to hear, the guys were talking about earlier on, love to hear some tips or some ideas from you guys how people at home can get into this at a competitive level like you guys.
If you want to get into competitive Fortnite, you just got to play every single day. Play the ranked modes, try your hardest, and watch tournaments as well.
You heard it there from the man himself. Guys, one more time, let's give it up for our leaders of day 1, Vinny and Zexro! Congratulations, lads. Tomorrow, these could be yours. We'll have to tune in tomorrow and find it. That's actually everything from the stage here today. Absolute pleasure hanging out with all the players who have won games today. And we're back tomorrow. Loads more action to be had. 48 points in the lead, but anything can happen. I'll see you tomorrow. For now, back to Mark, and you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Adam. Always good to hear from our leaders at the end of the day there. And you can see, you know, they said it themselves, how one game can change something. They just placed top 10 pretty consistently throughout the day. And that one game towards the end of the day, the final game of the day, I should say, things don't go their way. And all of a sudden, that first place is a little bit more rocky than it was.
I do want to say, though, Zexro forgot one thing if you want to be a professional Fortnite player. You got to join as many pro cords as possible, because clearly the more pro cords you're in, the better player you are, right?
I don't think it really works that way, but you know, it's a nice strategy. I wish a lot more 12-year-olds would take your advice.
Okay, so obviously we want to talk about what's happened today, looking forward to tomorrow. One thing that I took away from those two guys on stage there from the interview as well was, you know, they are maybe a little bit concerned at the fact that we've got another day tomorrow and the teams can go away now and look at what they've done today and how they can adjust and how their strategies can change. And it's going to be, even if they don't change anything for tomorrow, it just puts that slight seed of doubt in your head.
And the worrying thing is that you sometimes have these teams who take a little bit of time to warm up or take some time to adapt to the new season, to playing duos now after solos yesterday. So they should know that coming into tomorrow, the competition is going to continue to rise. It's not like, all right, you top day 1, we can top day 2 easily. No, it's going to get more and more difficult as these games go on. And I feel like there's a lot of teams here that we haven't necessarily seen in the top 10 that will most certainly break through.
Yeah, it's going to be certainly interesting, as you know, Vinny and Zexro were pointing out that they got loaded with clingers this game. It's going to be interesting to see if other teams are going to try and figure out their rotations from where they're actually starting from and make a move, you know, push into that and try and keep that pressure on them.
Well, we have plenty to look forward to tomorrow, but for today, I'm afraid that's it. We've had 7 rounds of action from all of our duos. At the moment, it's Vinny and Zexro who are leading the way. We've got 7 rounds to bring you tomorrow, though. It is not decided once again. Of course it isn't, because we love to go down to the wire. So we hope you join us tomorrow. We'll be back there. We'll see you then.
speak, and words that make me see that it's me, it's only me, bringing back your harmony. Speak to me.